All right, we're here with another episode of the Great Area Podcast. I'm the Mchezo Bwana here with TJ. What's going on, TJ?
Not a bunch, man. How you doing?
All right, man. So I sent you a clip of something Nick Cannon has said. Right now, a lot of people are calling Nick Cannon an anti-Semite. I don't know if you got to see the clip that I sent you. In that clip, I didn't really hear him say anything, but then I did look at some of the full episode, and he said a few things about Jews. The reason I wanted to touch on this is for a few different things. One thing I wanted to talk about was censorship. I feel like um, even though you might not agree with what he says, I don't think we should be censoring people. And he even said, "Hey, I'm willing to be educated if I said something wrong," and people still shame him. And one of the things, and so if somebody, so what are you supposed to do if you don't know what you're talking about and you ask for somebody to give you clarification or educate you and they refuse to do it and just want to yell? At that point, what can you really do? And I saw this coming when they deplatformed Alex Jones. You know, some people don't like Alex Jones, but the fact of the matter is, um, see, there's a saying that goes something like if you let them do it to your neighbors, then they'll do it to you. And whether you like
hmm
Alex Jones or not, the fact that they were able to censor him and other people just means that they're able to censor you when they feel like they don't want to hear what you have to say. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Um, I think it's one of our most important rights is free speech. But we used to have a thing in my city where the KKK once a year they would go and they would have a rally for the day, down in a prominent part of the city. People used to get up in arms about that, and I don't particularly like what they say,
Not
but
everything. You just it's just some of the things you don't like what they say, right?
I don't like. I don't know much about everything they say, but the whole gist of the KKK. No, I'm not a fan. But they they filed the permit. They got everything they needed. They did everything in time. They followed due process. If you don't like them, don't listen to them. But what people do is, in cancel culture right now is what they'll do is they'll go right, they'll go after the company or whoever is whoever employs these people and threatens to do whatever if they don't get fired.
Right. And a lot of cases, the
Yeah,
people don't even have the discipline to boycott the business in the first place. It's an empty threat. You know what I'm
right.
saying? You know how
Yes,
long people been
exactly.
talking about how Amazon and Walmart before that are
Chick
bad
Fil
for the,
A,
huh?
yeah, or
And
Chick
it,
Fil A.
yeah, but they still go, don't they?
Yeah, I told people straight up, and like, my gay friends, I'm like, bro, I still eat Chick Fil A. I fucking love Chick Fil
Yeah, yeah.
A.
And I'm pretty sure gay people eat Chick-fil-A. See, the thing is, most people don't have discipline anyway. It's very difficult to have discipline, and it's something you have to work on every day. And the average
Right.
person is soft, and not that I'm the toughest person in the world because it's something that I work on, but the average person is not going to do the difficult thing. And
Well, what kills me about the Nick Cannon thing, real quick, is forgot to say this, not to interrupt, but what kills me about the Nick Cannon thing is he said he was willing to learn if he said something wrong. Sorry about that.
no, and I
Right.
said that too. So what is he
Yeah.
supposed to do if he's saying, "Hey, I'm willing to learn. Somebody teach me." So it's not really a genuine argument, and it's not a they're not coming at him genuinely. They just want to shout him down for whatever reason, and it's going to be more people to get censored, basically. But I don't think Nick Cannon is going to be censored because I think the black community will support him because, and anybody in good faith. I mean, Nick Cannon, whether you believe what he was talking about, whether you think he even knew what he was talking about, the fact that he said, "Hey, I'm willing to discuss this with somebody," and people aren't. It's just like the people that are against vaccines. I've noticed that you have a bunch of people that are against vaccines, and they're trying to make a get together a dialogue with people that are pro-vaccine, and the pro-vaccine
Mm-hmm.
doctors won't even debate or have a conversation with the anti-vaccine people.
Anti-vaxxers.
So, it kind of makes you think like when I see stuff like that, it's like people don't want to have genuine conversations and good faith conversations because they don't want to be exposed as liars and frauds. I'll give you
Yeah,
another.
and I think
Go ahead. Go ahead.
that.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, and I think you're right. Yeah, we talk about this all the time. You know, people don't want to people don't want to be told what they don't know. It makes them a lot more comfortable if they just sit there and say, "Hey, I know this." No, I don't care. I don't want to learn. Leave me alone. It's just laziness.
It is, and it's scared. Like I said, a lot of it is people's beliefs are tied to their self-esteem. Um,
Mhm.
and I give you another example. When we just talk about people being exposed on Twitter, like I said, I get a lot of my information off of Twitter to see what to talk
Mhm.
about because Twitter is basically like the 24-hour news cycle at this point. Really, Twitter makes news trend at this point, from what I see. And
Right. No more
basically,
investigative journalism. What they do is they just go on Twitter.
but we kind of have to, don't we? Because the people, basically, people are citizen journalists, right? Because the
Yeah.
mainstream media won't report everything, right? So
Right.
we kind of have to take it upon ourselves. If we're not going to get it from the media, we have to become our own media, and I think that's what Twitter has become,
Yeah.
and social media. One example, I don't know if you know this guy, Terrence K. Williams. You know this guy?
Mm.
He's like one of these black um, Trump supporters, right? He always is
Oh
just
yeah.
taking up for Trump. He's just some little dude that he's like a comedian. So I follow
Yeah.
Terrence, and Terrence, a lot of stuff he's not really, he's kind of like a troll, and he just
Mm.
defends Trump at every turn, right? But he
Right.
posted something the other day, right, about Roland
Mm.
Martin. Do you know who Roland Martin is?
Mm.
Roland Martin.
Okay. God, maybe I need to get on Twitter.
Yeah, you need to get on Twitter, man. You need to just get up on this stuff. So Roland Martin is a guy who used to work for like TV1 and CNN. He's like a black supposed journalist, right? He had his own little show and he has his own internet show right now because he got fired. But back
Okay.
during the election, yeah, it was leaked that he was giving questions to Donna Brazile or something to the effect that he leaked questions to Donna Brazile to give to Hillary Clinton when she was going to be questioned by Donna Brazile, right? Something to that
Okay.
extent. So obviously he's not Roland Martin isn't a serious journalist, right? So something
Right.
happened where Roland Martin went at Terrence K. Williams, right?
Mm.
And Terrence K. Williams, he called Terrence K. Williams the troll, a leprechaun. And and this happened years ago though, right? This happened like in 2016 when Roland did that. So
Okay.
Terrence K. Williams exposed him again and brought it to everybody's attention again because it was already known, but he brought it to everybody's attention again. So I commented and basically I said that Roland Martin is, that shows little integrity, right? And I said
Yeah.
that he's not a real journalist. And I said for him to do something like that to leak questions means that he is a Democratic employee, not a real journalist, right? So then,
Right.
people start liking it, and then all of a sudden, because I was following Roland Martin too, all of a sudden I get blocked by Roland Martin. So that just kind of proves my point that people
Right.
don't want to have genuine conversations because they don't want to be exposed as being liars and frauds, man. So when
Right.
Nick Cannon said what he said, hey, I'm willing to learn, that was a person that is willing. You actually is actually showing that a person is actually big of a person to say, hey, I'm not a know-it-all. I want to hear your side. Especially nowadays with the cancel culture, nobody wants to hear anybody's side. They just want to go off of emotions. And we become this nation. We have to do something about this fast. Where we're gonna have to be able to reach out to people we don't agree with to have conversations. We don't need to change our minds. We just need to have an understanding so we can see what we can agree on and what we need
Right.
to stay away from each other on. because this
Well, that's
country, we're losing our
yeah,
freedoms. But go ahead.
yeah. I mean, that's a big theme. That's a big theme of our podcasts, right? Is we both agree, like, hey, if I say something, I'll say something, and I won't, like, unless I know it's a fact or I'm pretty sure it's a fact, I won't make it definitive. I'll just say something like, here's what I see or whatever. You have to be teachable, and you have to be open. But in America, you really don't have to. You have the right to be stupid. You have the right to be ignorant. You know,
Right, right,
you have that right. If you want to go, no, you're wrong. The world's flat. That's how I'm going to live my life. So, never mind. Can we discuss this? No, no, we can't.
right. We can't even have
I
discussions.
no. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be more of a, like a. I wish it was more of a meritocracy. Where the best idea wins. It really doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. But sometimes you can't escape facts either,
What'd you say?
right? You can't escape facts either. Like things that are not things that are kind of open, um, like what you believe the Black Lives Matter or something like that, right? Um, you should have discussions on that shit.
We should have
But
discussions on it.
yeah, I'm just saying. I agree with you. We should be open minded. You basically said everything in your statement, and I didn't have much more to add to it.
Yeah, well, another thing I noticed when you talk about people shouting down people,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it feels good to be, here we have conversations that people are afraid to have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we're both trying to learn, we're both trying to improve.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed is that it can feel good to be mean to people. It can feel
Right.
good to think that you are better than people.
Right.
And the thing about self improvement is it's basically a minute to minute, moment to moment, day to day activity that you have to be conscious of because
Mm-hmm.
with our ego, we can easily fall into bad behaviors.
Right.
And the thing is, not everybody is willing to do that because it can be tough. And like I said, sometimes when you're hurting, you want to hurt other people,
Right.
you know? And this is black,
Yeah,
white, whoever.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it happens more in relationships than anything, but I don't understand why that happens in the public forum. Like even when I see these people yell and they say horrible things, they're in Walmart, they're going crazy over masks and stuff like that. I'm not like, man, this guy, I really hate this guy, blah 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 blah. And he's like, this guy's being an idiot. Like, and that's as far as I go with like the argument. Like,
Yeah,
this guy's being an
yeah,
idiot. Yeah, I thought about this the other day. Also, these people who aren't wearing masks, and these are private companies. They can make you wear a mask, right? There's a few things they could do. I mean, you could sue them if you want, but and also what is it? The ADA? The ADA, like now there's this argument that uh, the American Disabilities Act, I think.
hey man, your
Um,
phone sounds horrible, man. Are you away from the phone or something?
no, I'm here.
Okay, go
So,
ahead. What were you
so
saying?
like the masks, right? So these people think that they're in the Matrix, and all of us are, who wear masks are like Mr. Smith. We're all Mr. Smith. We're all like, you know, clones or whatever they call it in the Matrix. And but these are practical things, But yeah, I forget where I was getting to get
Well, you
stopped me.
talked
But
about the mask and I guess people getting upset
I
about
was
it.
talking. No, before that we were talking about shit.
People getting upset when somebody has something to say that
Oh
they
no,
don't agree
being
with.
being yeah yeah being excuse me, being mean to people. You know, it's yeah. If you don't agree with someone, that's why I hate watching TV, because all they do is sit there and insult each other back and forth. They don't really get to the topic.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It's that debate
and it's just
culture.
yeah. Well,
I
that's
have to
not
be
even
right.
debate. Well, that's not even debate. That's just they're just insulting each other back and forth. And unfortunately, we have a president that thinks that's an argument, right? It's like, no, he did this. No, he's a poopy head. Oh man, well yeah, that makes sense. Maybe he's wrong. You know, but it's kind of like if you get into an argument with someone, right? And it's someone that you really really hate, and they say something like, "Oh, you're fat." I mean, you have to stand back and look at it objectively. It's like they are being a jerk. Are they correct? Yeah. Well, yeah. Tubby.
What about when
Well,
somebody
you know.
calls you the N word?
Um, yeah, it's just an insult.
Well, see
It's
what?
just an insult.
Yeah, well,
You know.
you insult somebody to make them feel bad though,
Right.
and some people
Um,
get off on that. And sometimes when you're having an emotional reaction, you want to say the worst thing possible to make the first person feel bad. I mean,
right.
basically, anger is basically frustration and fear, and then it just comes out as anger. Because, like I
Anger's a
said,
secondary emotion.
so what's
Yeah.
the primary emotion?
It could be anything. Primary emotion could be, man, I'm really frustrated. To get angry. Or I'm
Yeah.
really
Okay.
hungry, so I can
Right.
get angry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I'm
Anger is the
sad, so I get angry.
response. Yeah.
Yeah, anger is the response. Yeah.
Yeah. But we just have to do a better job of handling our anger and our emotions, and that's not really something that we're taught at home, and that's not something that we're really taught in schools.
I mean,
We
I was,
You were
but yeah,
at
I
school
was
or at
always taught
home?
to both. Like in school, I think you're forgetting, like in school, you have conflict resolution. They
What
talk about that
conflict
every once in a
resolution?
while.
Man,
They talk about
I don't remember no conflict resolution.
it's not a class. It's just they would put it in there every once in a while. About being democratic and not fighting, stuff like that. And I was always taught to try not to fight. I mean, it did take when I was a kid. I was an angry kid, so I got in a lot of fights. But yeah, I mean, I was. My parents taught me, to try to be chill,
I don't
which I was
remember.
fake. And
I don't remember being
when I got
told that.
older, I was. Yeah.
We need to have that as a part of ongoing training in America. Another
For
thing
the
I
standard,
noticed,
yeah.
yeah, another thing I noticed is that in America we need therapy, especially black people. Coming out of slavery, Jim Crow, the trauma, the terrorism, we never really got that handled. And you know,
Right.
and then in America in general, because we black people and white people have issues talking to each other honestly.
Hmm.
White people feel guilty sometimes, and
Hmm.
nobody, guilt is a bad emotion because I mean, you don't want to feel guilty about something you didn't even do, you know.
Right.
And then if you're
Yeah.
going,
Yeah. It's it's funny, man, because you know you so I guarantee most white people say the N word at one point in time, right? Either that or they're in the room and laugh at a joke that had the N word in it. It wasn't told by Dave Chappelle, it was told by like some other white person, right?
mhm,
Now black people know this. But the one thing is, white people, they either take, there's very few people like me who are going to go, yeah, I said it when I was a kid. I was stupid. You know, or, yeah, I've said it before. Not just because I was singing a song, And, people who deny that they've ever said it, you get the people to the far left, which say, no, I never said it. No, no, I don't think so. Blah, 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 right? It's just deny, 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 which, that blocks learning. Or you get people that they're just like, fuck it. Yeah, I say it every day. Those are two hard people to teach
yeah,
because they're both people that don't want to learn.
yeah, we
You
can't
know,
teach people like that, man, and that's part of the problem. You can't force somebody to listen or want to learn. Only thing you can really force somebody to do is when you got a gun to them. When you got a gun to them, or when you got them a whip, you know what I'm saying? That's the only way you can really force somebody to do something. Other than that, I mean, you basically, what this one guy told me is he's this one guy, pretty rich dude. He told me Move away from anything that no longer serves you. He said, no matter what it is, no matter who it is. He told me he don't even care if it's my kids. He said, take care of your responsibility, but move away from anything that no longer serves you. And when I see the super successful people, it was a level of separation they had to go through, whether it was from the neighborhood, whether it's from negative family members, whether it's from negative peers. You have to do that. And when you look at the people they call the so-called elite, they basically separated from other white people also. And I think
Right.
society would be better served if we just get with the people that actually are willing to support you, put in work, and actually cooperate instead of just trying to twist people's arms and drag people along that don't want to do what you want to do. I mean, you can give them a chance to, you can obviously conversate with them, but
Mhm.
because you just never know how people will take information or when the information will stick. Because he told me a lot of good advice, but I didn't immediately act on that advice. So we all come into knowledge and have that moment where things click at different times, but some people seem to never get it and never want to get it because we can't force people. Jim Rohn had a statement that said you can't do your so nobody can do your push-ups for you, right?
Right.
You're gonna have to do your own push-ups, and we can't help if somebody gets jealous of us. We can't help if somebody doesn't have the work ethic to actually do things, and we can't change everybody's mind, so we kind of waste time in this world and in this country trying to convince people to do stuff. Like, who cares about
Right.
being right? It's about being happy and being
Right.
prosperous. And
People have to want to, I heard this. People have to want to. And at what point do you stop trying, right? If someone's unreceptive, I mean, do you keep poking at them and poking at them, forever, or there's got to be some point like you're wasting your time. You need to go to the person that's willing to learn.
right, right. We
Yeah.
don't, we don't, we
You
have
know.
to have that set in stone or something. Or maybe not it's set in stone, but we need to have systems in place. Scott Adams talks about that, says having systems. Maybe we need to just have a system in place where you say, well, I'll give this person this many chances, and then that's it. Because what's going to happen
Right.
is people are going to start to resent you. Anyway, people will start to resent you if you start to do work and you start to have a level of success and they don't, they'll start to resent you anyway. So you
Hmm.
need to start looking out for the signs early on to see who's actually willing to support you, who's actually trying to put in work, and who's not just talking and gossiping and doing all this other stuff. I think I think as black people, that's why we get in a lot of trouble. We're around toxic people that are not willing to help us and
Rappers
really
talk
just
about it all the time. Yeah.
rappers.
Yeah, rappers talk about it all the time.
What?
It's like you make fun of me when I was trying to get to the top. Now I'm at the top. Now, like I'm some kind of jerk, or you do one or the other. You try to ride my coattails, or you're mad at me because I went and I did something with myself.
Right, right. But if a person separates from another person that they feel is toxic and they become successful, then that was the right move, right? Well, I don't
Right.
know. I'm just saying. I mean, it's because if you couldn't be successful with a person, it's not does not help you out that don't have any skills and it's basically distracting you from your goal. You basically just gonna be stuck with them.
Right.
And I think that's what we have. And then you have resentment. I think we have a lot of resentment in the black community. And there's a lot of issues in this country, in the black community, white community, period, that we need to, and it's not an easy fix. And we're gonna have to have, a bunch of people come up with solutions that are actually willing to take action and be an example, so we can
Yeah, I
get to
mean
a
that's
better place.
yeah. Jealousy is a human emotion, and it's a negative emotion. we've talked about positivity before, and it's universal, right? It's universal, and I think what you're trying to say is black people really can't afford to be jealous.
We can't. You're right.
Because you're right. Yeah, right. I got you.
We can't afford to be jealous because the whole thing is just the law of cause and effect. Whenever people are jealous, it usually just ends up bad. We spoke about this before, right? So you
Mm.
know who Malcolm X is, right?
Yeah,
And
heard of
you,
them.
yeah, you feel like Malcolm X was a great. Well, I'm just saying, I just
Yeah, yeah,
Malcolm X to me, he was a great thinker, right? He could have changed the world
yeah,
for the better if he would have been around for a lot of years, right?
yeah. I think so.
But you had J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI saying, "Hey, we're gonna kill some of these people," and they did, right? So,
Hmm.
so that's a negative emotion, hate, jealousy, resentment, and that basically stifled the progress of black people, America, and the world when you take out a person like that.
Well, I think it was paranoia too. Paranoia and a need for control.
But
Um,
control is insecurity to a certain extent. You want
to a
to
certain
control
extent.
over people. You want to have control over yourself, but to control other people, especially weak people. See, that's a deeper subject because we can go into it. That's the other thing. I never wanted to lead weak people because if you
Hold on
lead
one
weak
second.
people, they're going to turn on you.
Hold on one second. Sorry, man. I had a cough in there for a while.
That's
Go
fine.
ahead.
That's fine. I'm just saying, well, control, it's good to control your environment, and I get that. But at the end of the day, we need to, racism to me is such it's an issue that we need to get over so we can do better as a country and as a species of people.
I think. Well, do you think that's if you have to pick any kind of topic, right? The political back and forth, or racism, or whatever. I mean, what do you think would be the most important subject that Americans should focus on that would have the most impact? Like when I say politics, like the bi-party system, right?
The what
Because
system?
the the bi-party system, Democrats and Republicans. We only have two parties. In England they have a bunch, but the whole not reaching across the aisles, the whole like it's almost like the Bloods and the Crips, right?
Right.
Right. So fixing that, getting these people to cooperate, and fixing bureaucracy be better than fixing racism would have more of an impact. Is what I'm saying.
I think
What's the
fixing
biggest
racism
thing?
would. I think that would.
Yeah.
I think because it can fall in line because a lot of the reason we have so much problems in this country and in this world is because of racism. And if we can
Hmm.
actually understand each other better and understand that racism is basically hindering what we can do. We can do greater things as a country if we get rid of this racism. Now, the systematic
Oh,
racism. Now, bigotry, hey, people are gonna be bigots, people are gonna be prejudiced. You could be prejudiced against another white person. You know what I'm saying? You can
right.
see a white person at any time and be like, oh man, I'm talking about you as a white person can see a white person just like, I don't like that person for whatever physical reason that you don't like that person.
Like I don't like Italians, or I don't
Yeah,
like
you can say that,
Mexicans.
you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so we can't really help that to a certain extent, but we can if we understand why this person feels like that and we can basically present them with facts. Because like I said, it's so stupid when you really think about it. How is a homeless, illiterate white person better than a person like LeBron James who is, accomplished, um, affecting the world in a positive way.
Hmm.
Seems to be a good father.
Hmm.
How is that person better than LeBron James based off of skin color when he didn't have any, when that person, the white person, didn't have anything to do with his skin color? This is how we know it's some part of insecurity and wanting to
Hmm.
be superior to people
Hmm.
because you had nothing to do with your skin color. I had nothing to do with as far as I know, I had nothing to do with my skin color. You had nothing to do with your skin color. So you just happen to be white, and that makes you just better than other people. It doesn't, but you have no accomplishments. See, I notice a lot of white people and black people do it too. All groups really do it. People live vicariously through successful people in their groups a lot of times.
Yeah, heroes. Or it's dangerous to live vicariously through them. I think it's more important to use them as an example. You know,
Right, right,
it's dangerous to live vicariously through anybody.
right.
If you really want to be like that person, or you really like what that person's doing, take a piece of what they're doing and try to emulate it. I mean, there's nobody on this earth that's been successful that was absolutely 100%. It was all them. They get ideas from here, they get ideas from there, they get ideas from here. You know, LeBron and Kobe used to steal. Like they were talking. Jordan always talked about how Kobe would steal his moves. Who cares?
Right,
You
right.
know,
They say success
if
leaves
Jordan,
clues.
right? But Kobe would like look and try something, see if it works for him. Does it work for him? Okay. He'd make up his own stuff. And, steal stuff. If it works for him, he keep it. Take what you like, leave the rest.
Right. The thing I
Yeah.
noticed
So
when you say that though, but go ahead. I'll let you finish it, and I'll listen, and then
no, no,
I'll.
no. I was done. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was gonna say you're right. We shouldn't live vicariously through people because that
Mm-hmm.
can develop maybe a level of delusion and entitlement to
Right.
things. But see, it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to live vicariously through somebody than to emulate somebody's actions because that action is energy and is work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the hard part. It's like you said, people are going to go with the easiest route. I've even done it. I've blamed people for some of my mistakes. But at the end of the day, what I do with my Tom, really, the other people have no control over what I do with my Tom. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're
So,
responsible for where you are. Yes.
right. So if I had 24 hours, if I want to play video games for 24 hours a day and then I'm wondering why I'm not getting better results, well, I need to look at what I'm doing with my Tom. And it's
Right.
much easier to blame other people. And because like I said, it's very difficult to get moving and take action and stay focused.
Yeah. I totally 100% believe in momentum. So if it's kind of like some people. I've had a couple of people that I know that are pretty successful. Like they never stop moving. They like don't sit on the couch or anything like that because as soon as you do that, momentum slows down. Now you're kind of like in the couch. Now you kind of want to stay there. Now you might lay down. So the momentum slows the other way,
Right,
right?
right.
So getting that pendulum swinging is the hard part. You're right.
Yeah, it is the hard part. And I
Yeah.
think if we
And
go ahead,
trying to keep it on one end too, trying to keep it on the right end. Yeah, it's hard.
it is hard. And but it
Yeah.
has to be done if you want to be successful. If it was so easy, everybody would do it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, you just have to do it, man. And
And you have to do it consistently. You are, I forget who said this, but you are what you consistently do.
you
That's
are
it.
what you consistently do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not what you consistently say, not what you consistently, whatever. You are what you consistently do. So you consistently, fuck up. You're a fuck up. Right. I mean, it's not permanent. It's not a permanent. It doesn't have to be. But, if you consistently, work hard, so be a hard worker. If you consistently win at something, then you're a winner. You are what you consistently do.
Yeah. That's why it's important to be around people that can hold you accountable, show you the way sometimes. and just be a good example, because when you're around toxic people, they can be a distraction. Because
Right, and right, yeah,
yeah, whether they want to
yeah,
be a distraction or not, whether they, it's just they can't really help you unless there's something where you can actually recognize and say, you know what, this is what I don't want to be, you know,
hmm,
and this is what I'm,
right,
because you have cases like that too, because you can have a person that is raised with an alcoholic and then they become an alcoholic themselves, or they can say, I don't want to ever drink again. So we have
hmm,
these examples. It's up to the person, but it's also, other circumstances that go into play also. I mean, we're all learning, right? This
right,
human experience is something that we all continue to try to, I guess, master and just go through as, you know, unscarred as possible, basically. And we make mistakes, but we're going to continue to make the same mistakes if we don't acknowledge when we are making a mistake and if we aren't willing to get better.
agreed.
You know, just going back to the Nick Cannon thing. Um, he said what he said, whether it's true or not, whether you believe him or not. But the thing I commend is that he was actually willing to get out there and say, "Hey, I'm willing to talk to other people." And when they weren't willing to do that, and they just saying cancel, then they just, you know, they just kind of shot him down. And we have to be careful canceling people that we don't agree with, because eventually they're going to cancel somebody you like, and then they might cancel you, and then next thing you know, you can't say anything or think for yourself. Um,
Right.
you know, they have a lot of us kind of by the balls to per se, because people are afraid to speak out or say what they really feel or have genuine conversations, because they're afraid they might lose money, they're afraid they might be outcast, or they're afraid they might be harmed, you know
Right. Yeah.
and it's basically fear. And they have us. So if you can't create or you don't have skills, then you're gonna be, because Nick Canada be fine because he can always create different things and he has money. But
Right.
a lot of people are silent when they see oppression or things that they know are wrong because of those three things. A lot of times it may be more, but those are three things that I noticed.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we all do that, right? Like if this podcast was biggest and we were famous and stuff like that, I think it'd be hard not to be careful.
Right, right.
Because of the way people react. And I try to not walk on eggshells, but I try to make sure that I'm careful with my words as much as I can be.
I
I'm
try
not a
to too.
professional with this.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not going to stop me from trying to get a real point across.
right.
You
Because
know.
people get so offended that you can't even, you have to be impeccable with your words sometimes, because,
Yeah.
and even when you're impeccable with your words, people get offended. So I don't even necessarily say stuff to be offensive or to change people's minds. I've already said I'm not trying to be right. I'd rather be happy. If you know a better way, like you were saying, it's about let the best idea win. If you know a better way to do something, I'm trying to be mature enough to take that information, analyze it, and then run with it if it is. Because that's a challenge
Exactly.
too. But a lot of people, man, it's like they get offended so damn easily nowadays, and they will hold their money over your head, and money is comfort. You know,
I mean, that's been forever, man. The holding money over your head, that's forever. That's always happened. I hate people like that. And I don't hate anybody now, but those people just you can't talk.
yeah. Well, we gotta have to
So
do something. We, like I said, I think one of the solutions is we're gonna have to continue to try to have uncomfortable conversations with people, even the people we agree with. We're just gonna have to have honest conversations to really understand. Quote worrying about being right.